Hello friends, welcome to Son of a Gun. Out of all the queries that I receive in the comment section here and in our Instagram page, the majority is regarding vintage spares and how to procure them. This video is gonna be a compilation of all the vintage spare dealers and retailers that I know of from various parts of India. Before we proceed to the video, let me get something very clear. I will not be responsible for any discrepancy that may arise when you deal with the people whose contact I'm going to share in here, and it's going to be your sole obligation and hence due diligence is advised. कहने का ये मतलब है कि मुझे इस पे कोई कमीशन नहीं है and if something goes wrong you should not blame me. A smart move will be to meet the spare dealers near you and make the purchase directly after verifying the spares by yourself. Second thing to mention here is that there are original vintage spares and then there are brilliantly made replicas. If you are unable to differentiate between these, you can contact me in WhatsApp or Instagram and I'll definitely help. I'm not claiming that I'm an expert of any sort in this, but I have my contacts who are the best in business. And if you have an 80s or 90s model and are obsessed with the vintage look, my good advice would be to stick to copy spares instead of spending a fortune on original vintage ones, which would be nothing more than a fool's errand. So without further ado, let's quickly proceed to the video. I had bought the front box mudguard for my 71 model from this guy, and I'm kind of satisfied with the way he had done his business, although he had charged a little bit extra for the courier. I even recommended this guy to some of my friends and even they didn't face any issues. All this being said, be your own judge and never take anyone for granted. This fellow doesn't actually maintain an inventory, but is very handy in arranging spares, even those which are very difficult to find normally. This fellow is a familiar face in Facebook and is more into replica stuff as seen from what he usually advertises. I'm planning to get those bullet-shaped tourniqueters from him sometime soon. This firm has been around for a very long time now and is quite popular in Palakkad. The owner, Mr. Altamash, is a humble person and he was friendly with me even though I didn't make any huge purchase or so. They don't stock vintage spares anymore but can arrange stuff based on demand. I had come to know about this person from one Mr. Regan Pinto, who's a subscriber of our channel, and he speaks really high of this chap. Dhruv is more like a friend and one of the admins of our WhatsApp group. This guy is also popular in the Facebook groups and is very friendly with his response. I've seen him putting up some very rare spares for sale and he apparently knows what he's doing. Rahul is also a very familiar face in the Facebook groups. Vicky is not really the typical dealer kind of person. I had purchased a Precol speedometer from him and he had got it serviced for me on my request and delivered the same on time. Deepesh is a big shot when it comes to original vintage spares, and there is nothing that this guy cannot arrange. If you have seen my spares video, a major chunk of the photographs came from him. I'll be doing a detailed video in collaboration with him shortly. This fellow has the Tang monogram that you see. It is not original but looks much better than the brass ones and the Royal Enfield label ones that are commonly seen. If there is a single spare that could change the whole outlook of a bullet, then that is the gun monogram beyond even the slightest of doubts. For those from Tamil Nadu, this fellow will definitely be a good source to purchase vintage spares, and he has a huge collection too. This fellow is commonly seen in the Facebook groups with his advertisements and is rather transparent with his pricing, which itself is a rarity. This person is also based in Coimbatore and is Mr. Gideon's brother. I'm a bit skeptical about this person, but I don't want to be judgmental. He's probably based in Pudukkottai, but I really can't remember. If you need any replica spares for your G2 or B series bullet, these are the ones to approach. They have almost everything, but I'm not that much positive about the quality. The mechanics in Coimbatore prefer Aditya over Lechu, and I cannot blame them. And one final thing to mention is that kindly cross check everything before you leave the counter. This guy is also frequently seen in Facebook groups with his advertisements. This contact is from the Vintage Spares WhatsApp group and he seems friendly. I need to say a couple of things about Maidan Motors. Their customer satisfaction index is 50-50 from what I have observed, and I have good reason to believe the same. I had ordered rear round mudguard, throttle lock and monogram, all replicas from them, and they charged me triple for the courier. Apart from this, the monogram didn't really arrive and I had to call them multiple times for the refund. Ever since, they have apparently blacklisted me and never really responds. Now, that is not something that you expect from a spare dealer, is it? I have seen happy customers and I have seen people who are really pissed off. So the choice is entirely yours. Forgot to mention that they have copy spares available for almost everything. This is probably the only website in India where old bullet spares can be purchased online. They mostly provide copy stuff, but the quality is competitive. You could check out the royalenfieldsound.com website for more information. This guy is also a familiar face in most of the social networking platforms and deals with original vintage stuff. The same goes for Shahid, whom I know from the WhatsApp group of spare dealers. Coming towards the end, well, the episode will not be complete if I don't mention Sagar Rao. He is a tainted dealer based in Bangalore. I bought an Enfield replica monogram from him once, and only 3 days later, he was selling the same for exactly half the price to my friend. I got really pissed off and asked him to take the stuff back and return the money. And the stupid fellow replies that he was just saying that it's available for half the price while it wasn't. How weird is that? He probably feels everybody else other than him are fools. He also has this tendency to degrade the quality and price of things sold by other dealers, and you could see the extract from the conversation. He didn't return my money and instead started using foul language and later blocked me in WhatsApp. So it will be a better idea to stay away from people like this. That's all I have for now, guys. See you all soon.